It looks like I am live. My live looks like it. Okay, let me see if I can do this other thing. Hold on. It looks like. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. It looks like I am live on YouTube and Facebook. So hello, YouTube, and hello, Facebook. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Tammy Morrison, spiritual teacher, mentor, intuitive healer, and I am here for Tuesday Intuitive Chats. So first of all, I want to share this wonderful card that I got. I got these amazing cards, Isis Oracles, and I got the small ones because I thought they were cute, and plus they fit my hand. So abundance in many forms is increasing in flow to you. And this is the front of it. But it says abundance in many forms is increasing in flow to you. Continue your good work of building channels through which abundance can be delivered to you. Freely share your talents, love, wisdom, and self, and enjoy the abundance responsibly flowing to you in many forms over and over again. So it's called the abundance of Sothis. And I thought that was so beautiful. I thought that was so beautiful and so fitting, because today I actually did something that I had some yes days today, and I said yes when I could possibly and potentially have said no. So I said yes to a podcast interview today that I did. And then I had some things happen. My computer started acting really crazy. And so I ended up having to shut that down and go on the phone. Now, the backstory of all this is that I have not one computer, but two computers, because I bought another one during the Christmas sale thing, because my other one, was the one I'm on now, was acting really crazy. And so I said, you know what, let me just get another computer. That way I'll have a backup and I can, use that. And either one I could use. Well, y'all, both of my computers were not functioning properly. So I had to go on my phone to finish this interview with the young lady that I was doing the podcast interview with. So anyway, I said that to say that for me, that was such a beautiful thing, because those kind of things would have really shaken me in the past. They would have taken me off my game. I would have been so disgusted and almost damn near in depression because of these devices acting the fool. But today I just took it and I said, okay, you know what? This is what we're going to do. And I explained to the young lady that, my computer had frozen and blah, blah, blah. And she said, okay, come on. And so we did this thing. So thank you for whoever's joining. I cannot see the comments. I'm also pulling cards if you would like to have some. Going to pull some for the collective as well. But I wanted to just talk a little bit about my day, and so share with you guys just a little bit, a bird's eye view. And so at another yes, there was a networking meeting that I was going to go to, because for those of you that don't know, I am an introvert and I love being right here behind my computer screen, but it is out of my comfort zone to do that in-person stuff, the networking stuff. And I've been doing actually a lot of it lately. So I have almost trained myself to be an extroverted introvert, if that makes sense to anybody. And I know that introverts, it will make sense to. But yeah, so I said yes to going to do some networking opportunities. And woo. And so I went out to the place, took about a 20-minute ride out to where the place was, and it was a luncheon. So I kind of felt a little bit safe with the luncheon, because at least you know that there will be food between you and all the people. So I went out to the luncheon, and lo and behold, in the words of my husband, I get there and they canceled the meeting, canceled it. So I said, okay, what to do? And so I decided to go to the beach, which, if you don't know by now, that is my happy place. Anywhere there is water. I love the beach. I love the ocean. I love, lakes, ponds, not standing water and rain. But you know what? I have gotten a new perspective even on the rain, because of course where I live, that's what it does so frequently. But today was a beautiful sunshiny day. It was beautiful. And I could hear that song singing in my head. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshining day. And so it was as a matter of fact, the sun is still shining. I actually had to wear my new shades. And I actually just bought those shades, and I paid a lot of money for them for me, because I typically love to go to the Dollar Tree and buy 4 or 5 pairs. This way, if you lose them, break them, sit on them, whatever, you're okay. It doesn't mean a whole lot. But these shades I ordered because they're polarized shades that I needed, because I was diagnosed with having cataracts. And so that was what they recommended you wear, is those polarized shades to help to shield your eyes from the sun. So I wore my shades and I went out to the ocean, and I was able to just be, because that is something to me that is super huge. Just having the opportunity to just be, to just sit and just relax and just hear the ocean and see the birds flying and walk on the rocks. I mean, it was just a beautiful experience. And it was something that I haven't always been able to do, especially in the middle of the daytime. So it was quiet out there, and I actually met a beautiful young lady that that just was so much fun, and we actually had the most amazing conversation, because the funny thing is when I go out to the beach, especially when I go alone, I don't go to have conversation. I go to talk to God, which is what I did. I went and had a conversation with God, and I said, what are some things that you want me to do? And what is it that, you are expecting? And then I share some things that I was expecting. And so I had conversations with God. I was able to make some good, beautiful videos with some good footage for some of these channels that I have. And that was something that was amazing to me. So and so to me, it was like a self-care day, and for some reason, I don't know if I'm still being affected by the moon, but I was really kind of tired today. And I couldn't figure out why, because I haven't worked. I've done, a lot of work at home. But yesterday I took a chill day because it was Sunday. No, it was Monday. Okay. Anyway, suffice it to say, I didn't think I should feel as tired as I felt. But when I went to the ocean, it refreshed me so much, and I know a part of it is because I'm a water baby. I'm a Scorpio sun and a Pisces moon. And I think I have Leo in between, but I know that's part of it, and the other part is, when I was young, I used to think that that was where God lived, that God lived at the beach, and that's where he spoke to you at, and this was how I thought. I thought, okay, God lives at the beach. And, that actually was, a thing for me. So I found these rocks at the beach, which were beautiful. I thought they were just gorgeous. Don't ask me what they are. I have no idea. I just thought they were beautiful rocks, because I still had my quartz in my pocket anyway. So anyway, I wanted to just talk a little bit today, and like I said, if you want to have a card, I have cards that I can pull for you as well. But I wanted to talk a little bit today about connecting to spirit and to source, because that is so huge. So huge to connect to source. And I can say this because I have really been on a journey of deepening my connection. I have been and it's funny because people say, oh, I haven't seen you on social media that much. I said, no, because I am being goal directed about where I spend my time these days, and I'm being goal directed about even stopping a lot of the scrolling, because that is such a time suck. And so I'm being very intentional about where I spend my time and what I'm doing with it. And I have, a lot of things that I'm putting into place, a lot of things that require a lot of the back end work that I am currently doing. So I've been really absent a little bit from a lot of the social media scene, although I am consistent on TikTok. I also upload to YouTube Shorts, and I do my lives like I'm doing today. But I've really been intentional, because I know that at this time in my life, it's time to, because I have made a major shift and I have surrendered. And y'all, the thing about surrendering is it's fire. It's fire. People think that when you surrender something that you're giving something up. But what you do when you're surrendering is you're surrendering all the should haves and the would haves and the could haves and the wants and all that kind of stuff. And you're surrendering that for God's plan. And y'all, I don't know if y'all like Drake or not, but he put it best when he talked about God's plan. You're surrendering, what it is that you think you should do, and listening to the voice of the Holy Spirit within you, telling you what it is that who you are, really, because I truly believe that on this journey and on this life path that we're on, that as we surrender all of those things, all of that stuff, and a lot of people are doing that, as far as becoming minimalist and stuff, they're surrendering things and stuff. But I'm talking about really things that are inside. Like for me, I have been in the medical field for over 30 years. And I knew that it was time for me to get out of it, because I realized that I've been in burnout for at least 10 years. And I did a show with my good sis, Latasha, the other day, and it hit me while we were doing that show that I had been in burnout for so long. And the burnout actually coincided with me getting my divorce from my first husband. And it was like, oh my God, it almost was like a ding, like an aha moment, like, oh my God, I did not even realize. And a lot of times we don't, because we're in the midst of it. We're in the thick of it. You're doing what you have to do, making moves that you have to make, because, maybe you have children, or maybe you have to keep a roof over your head, or, whatever, all the things. And so you don't even realize, because what happens is you don't even have time to stop and smell the roses. And so once you do, then you begin to see, for one thing, you begin to see that they are roses, because a lot of times you can't even see that. You can't even see that there are roses there. And so if you can't see there are roses, then how the hell can you stop and smell them? So that was one of the things, and so I had to surrender, and just really trust God. And it's not the first time that I've done that. I actually had a cross-country move. Let me see now, that was 10 years ago. Yeah, that was 10 years ago in January that I made that cross-country move. I moved clear from the East Coast to the West. I moved from South Carolina to Arizona. And it was a total faith move, and I was speaking to a young lady today, and I was talking about that, and I said that was a total faith move, because I think I made that move across the country with an astronomical car note and $500. But I was determined that it was time for me to go. And plus, I heard God tell me that. I heard the Holy Spirit spoke to me at work at 3 o'clock in the morning and said, it's time for you to leave this place. And so when I did, of course, people always want to share stories where, it was just so much happiness and roses at the end and all kinds of shit. But I'm going to tell you the truth. It wasn't like that. When I made that cross-country move, I knew that I had a place to stay, because my cousin, out of the goodness of her heart and her beautiful spirit, offered me to stay in her house, sleep on her couch, and I did. And I was so grateful just for that opportunity, so that I could, get a job and get myself together and do what I needed to do in order to move forward. And so I actually did. I got a job pretty quickly, but I didn't even realize until just this past week that I got fired from not one job, but 2 jobs. And when I think about it now, that should have been a wake-up call there, because that had never happened to me in my entire life. Now, of course, I blamed, which, blame is such a low vibration. And so, but that's where I was at the time. And I blamed, the politics of the place where I moved. And the place where I was working out of was Scottsdale, Arizona. And, they don't always particularly care for people that look like me. And so I blamed all that on that. And, but, really, it did something to me. It took something out of me, because I had never experienced anything like that. Now, I have quit many jobs, because I've had a lot of jobs. I probably have had more jobs than I've had years in this field. And I have been in this field for over 30 years. I have had so many jobs that some of them didn't even make my resume, because I didn't make long. I worked somewhere one time, 2 weeks. I worked somewhere. I think I did an orientation at another job, and I was like, this is not for me. And I was out, and so once I realized, I was like, wow, I got fired from 2 places, and I did one, and neither one of them was my fault. That was the thing. It was not even, and it wasn't anything due to my work, because I have a hell of work ethic, because I was raised by people that had hella work ethics. And so, and also in our culture, they trained us to work, work your fingers to the bone. A lot of people said, what about sleep? Well, I sleep when I die, things like that. And that's not healthy. But did we know that? No. And it's what we were trained to do and how we were raised to be worker bees, And so I got fired from 2 jobs. And then in the midst of that, I couldn't find a job for, I think it was about 2 months, which had never happened to me a day in my life, ever. I mean, I've always been the type that I could walk out of one job and have a job the next day, or usually if I knew I was walking out of a job, I already had another job. But most of the time I already had 2 or 3 or 4 jobs anyway. So it didn't matter if I lost one. So that was kind of my mentality. And that's kind of how my life had been up until this point. But I realize now that it was a huge awakening for me. And it started in that arena first. It started with the jobs and stuff. And then I was able to have a mentor that helped me to, I had a mentor that helped me to navigate energy. And he taught me about the Bach flower essences. And he didn't give me none, I bought them, but he created some combinations for me, and he showed me how to use them and how to work with them. And he also talked to me about energy, and he shared with me why I had made that transition, why I had made that cross-country move, because he said that the place where I went to, he said it was healing, and it was time for me to get healed, because I had so much trauma. And, and he talked even about the trauma that was in my lineage, and he doesn't look like me. So it was amazing for him to even recognize that, I thought at that time. But he recognized the trauma that I carried in my cells, in my nervous system, and in my bloodline, because of the trauma that my people had gone through. You know, he talked about even like the middle passage and stuff, and how we still internalize trauma from that. And a lot of times we had no idea and had no clue that we were doing this and that we were internalizing that level of trauma. And so we went on a journey, and he taught me how to meditate and different things. And I had already meditated before, but it was the deeper for me. And so he took me deeper, you know, and the most amazing thing is, I think about it now, like he was a real angel to me. Hey, Angie, thank you for joining. He was a real angel to me because, you know, couldn't even contact him anymore. I don't have his number. I tried to call the number I had. He's not on social media. I could not find this man, but I believe that he did what he was supposed to do. You know, his job with me was done. And hey, Carmel Ann, thank you for joining. And so as I went through all of that, and I started really, really diving into energy, and started really learning how to heal, and started really tapping into the gifts that God had given me, it was such an eye opener, you know, and it was such a place that I knew that I had to be on this journey, you know, and it wasn't easy. And I love to talk about this. And I also want to share to people that it's not easy. And just because you see somebody on this journey and you look at them and you say, oh, wow, you know, they're there, or they have these many followers or whatever, it's still a journey. And it's not easy. You know, it's not easy, because it was not easy for me not to have a job, because I have worked 2, 3, 4 jobs in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s. My 50s, I refused. I refused to work like that. But in my 20s, my 30s, and my 40s, I worked too. It was not uncommon for me to be at somebody's job pretty much all the time. And so when I was at this place where, you know, God was calling me to not work myself to the bone and not be a worker bee, because to be honest with you, I knew that that was never something that I was supposed to do. I just felt like I had to do it. You know what I mean? Because I had children to take care of, and they had a father that was not provider material. Now, did I know this when I married him? No, because I married him at 19 years old. And I don't know what you were like at 19, but 19 years old, I feel like I was just stupid as hell, just doing dumb shit. And that was one of the dumbest things that I did, you know, was marry him. Now, do I regret it? No, I can't say that, because I did get my beautiful children from him. You know, so I don't believe in regret, but I can see how stupid that was now in hindsight. And so, you know, I realized that, you know, my children, you know, had to eat. I like a certain lifestyle. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm spoiled, and I've always been spoiled. My grandfather spoiled me from the beginning, and then after that, you know, my dad spoiled me. So I'm spoiled, and I don't make any bones about that. And I'll tell you in a minute. Hell, my husband will tell you. But, you know, and not in a bad way, but I just like what I like, and it's okay. And I think it's okay. You know, I used to feel bad about it as I was going through on this journey, but I couldn't feel bad about it because I am who I am, and I'm okay with it. And I love me some me. But when I started going on this journey and really seeking, you know, God, you know, and that really was what it was, because I had been to church all my life. I grew up in church. My grandmother was a pastor, preacher, teacher, evangelist, prophetess type. So I know the word of God. You know, we were spoon fed the Bible. I know that. But I also knew that there had to be more, and that there was more, and that there was a big God, that the God that they had taught us about was a small God. He was a little g. And I felt like there had to be a big G, because there was no way that a God that created the whole earth and the whole world and everything in it could be so limited. And so that took me so deep, and it took me deep into this journey, into energy, and into learning the things that, you know, they had kept from us, you know, because so many things in religion is like, they tell you, and you'll hear when you go to church, some churches, they'll say, well, take God out of the box, but they don't. They leave God in the box. You know, they don't believe God can really heal, you know, and I never understood that. And even as a child, I would ask those questions. I would ask questions. Well, why? If we pray to God, then ain't he supposed to heal, sister so-and-so? And of course, my grandmother would talk to me about it, but other people would just shush me. Be quiet, child. In those days, they wanted children to be seen and not heard, So it was just so crazy because, I knew that there had to be more, I have been speaking with my angels since I can remember. I always knew Archangel Michael has been with me since I can remember. Hey, Debbie, thank you for watching. But Archangel Michael has been with me since I could remember. I mean, I always knew it, always knew it, and I had different gifts that I had not embraced, and I had some gifts that scared the out of me. Trying to be better with my language, but it scared me, and I had to, I was so grateful for my grandmother because she was the only person that I could talk to about any of this. I mean, she was the only one, and she didn't judge me, and she actually explained stuff, and she taught me things, and she showed me things in the Bible and different other texts, because she was a world scholar. She was a lady that she not only read the Bible, but she read other texts, and she had other books, and before she transitioned, she started following like Abraham Hicks and, Wayne Dyer and Louise Hay and all of them. And it was not popular in those days for her to do that, but she did. And so to me, it opened the door for me, because seeing her with that and seeing her meditate and her showing me how to meditate, because she would just be laying in the bed with her eyes closed, and sometimes I would see her and look like her eyes were rolled up in her head. It was just weird to me as a little girl. But she taught me how to meditate, and she taught me how to talk to God, and that's something that I'm so grateful and so appreciative of her to this day. And so fast forward, today, I went to the beach because that was what I felt like my soul was needing. My soul was calling me to go to the beach because it was a beautiful, it still is a beautiful sunshiny day. And I felt like my soul was calling me to go out to the water, and just, because I get so much clarity, and I feel like there are no barriers between me and the Holy Spirit. And I feel like I can get so much direction and so much guidance, from my team at the water. And of course, that's what happened. I got so much, clarity at the water, and of course it's too cold to get in the water. And plus it's the Pacific Ocean. So it's almost always too cold in the water unless it's really hot outside, like it was 2 summers ago when we had that heat wave. Then I got in the water, but typically, no, I don't get in this water out here because it's too cold, because I'm an Atlantic Ocean type of girl. And the Atlantic Ocean is pretty much always warm, especially when it's warm. And so, but it's just the fact of being out in that type of nature. And I know there are people that get that from going to the mountains, and the mountains actually do it for me too. I just don't do it as often because I wasn't really raised around the mountains. I was raised in Savannah, Georgia, which is right on the coast. And so I'm used to coast stuff, and when I went to Arizona, I did get into some mountain stuff because it was just so beautiful, and I'm going to tell you a story, y'all. I was driving across the country, and when I pulled into, I think it was New Mexico, when I pulled into New Mexico, the mountains were so beautiful in that place where I pulled into. I had to just pull over and just stop. And I mean, the tears just flowed because I was just looking at God's grace, all of that God created, all of those beautiful mountains and the scenery. That happened to me also in Utah, because Utah, if you've not ever been there, it's a beautiful place. And the mountain ranges are just phenomenal. And the way that they're created, it had to be created by God, and it was just so beautiful. And so, when I started coming across, I started seeing, all of that. And it's almost like it was a time for me to see God's grace, and not only for the fact that I traveled across the country with $500 freaking dollars and a car note and no job. When I think about that now, that is exactly what I do. I just laugh because I know that, that was a walk by faith moment. It really was, really was. And but that wasn't even the first time I did that in my life either. I've done that a few times, so I just realized that that is one of the things that God has called me to do, is walk by faith. And it's one of the things that I think comes across in the sessions that I do with people, because they know that, for one thing, I've been through so much in my life that I am not judgmental at all. I don't hold no judgment against nobody, because I know that, you never know what situation you might find yourself in and what you might have to do, and I understand that, and I have no issue with it. And I have this amazing ability to hold space for people, and it's something that nobody taught me. It's something I just know, and of course, later on, I've had courses and classes and, and they kind of, talked about that. But, it's just something I've always been able to do. I could always do that, and it's just a gift, and then I realized I have a gift to sing in light language and allow the shifts to happen for people. And that was something that, of course, I didn't really know, until it began to happen. And I was working with a client, and that was one of the things that she got the most out of. And it was something that I didn't even realize I did. It was just, because when you're an intuitive healer, you do things intuitively. Many times is things that you knew from other lifetimes that you didn't even realize that came through with you in this one. Maybe you never did it until it was called for. And so that, to me, is what intuitive healer means. It means somebody that can intuit and somebody that can bring forth the things that the clients need at that time. And it doesn't have to be a cookie cutter type of situation, because all people don't need the same thing. It's almost like love, because I always tell people I never bash my ex-husband, because that's not something I'm here to do, and he had his own issues. But what I say is, he didn't know how to love me, and when I began to ask God to send me my new husband, which is one I currently have, that actually was one of the things, I'm crazy. I didn't even ask for a man with like a lot of money or anything like that. I didn't even address that. What I addressed was a man that would love me. I asked God for a man that loved him, because I believe that if a man loves God, then God will show him how to love you. And so that, to me, was one of the most important things, because that was the thing that I've missed and that I didn't have in my last relationship, my last marriage. And so I was really, really intent on that. And that was one of the things that I said. I said, God, I need a man that loves you. I said, if he loves you, then that means you'll show him how to love me, because we all want love in a particular way. And we're not all wanting the same type of love. It's just like love languages, like we all have our own love language. My husband's love language is touch. He loves to be touched. And so anytime I can touch him, that lightens his day. And he's happy, and that is his love language, and that's another thing that if you're in a relationship, you need to know that, and you need to find out what is your partner's love language. My love language is travel. Now, it's not one of the 5 typical love languages, but mine is travel, because that is what I love. And my husband actually knows that. And I was sharing with a friend the other day, I said, my husband is so intuitive that if I start acting crazy, which can happen, if I start, looking like I'm having like an anxiety attack or anything, or a little depression or something, or I start just, snapping off or something, he's like, okay, say, okay, baby, pack a bag, we're going to go, we're going to do a staycation, we're going to take a trip. and we'll just go, you know, someplace like we went in someplace an hour away, you know, and stayed like 2-3 days. And it was enough to just shift my vibration, you know, and change, you know, how I was looking at things and change perspective. And, you know, it opened up so much because, you know, we were just in a different place. And so that's why I say that travel is my love language, and he knows it. And it's just amazing how you get along when you recognize that and when you know that. And to me, that's a whole another level of healing as well, you know, because, you know, my ex, we didn't have anything like that. You know, I honestly don't know what the hell his love language was. But mine has always been travel. And so I would travel myself. You know, I would take myself to the beach because we lived probably about 2 hours from the beach. When I lived in South Carolina, we lived about 2 hours from Myrtle Beach. So I would just go to Myrtle Beach, you know, hour and a half if you could avoid the cops. But I would just take myself to the beach. Sometimes I would get off work in the morning. I'd be on work all night. And I would drive to the beach, you know, make sure my kids made it to school. And I would drive to the beach. And then I would be home before they got home, you know. In the evening, once they got off the school bus, I'd be home, you know. But that was, you know, that was my love language for myself. And that's how I did my self-care at that time, you know. But I don't know, y'all, I got off talking about all kinds of stuff, but I know it probably was good. I thought it was necessary. But I was talking about Tuesday healing, and I was saying, if any of y'all wanted a card, I would pull y'all a card. So just let me know if that's something you want, if you guys want a card. And I would love it if you guys would share it out so that other people can, you know, get some of this wisdom. But definitely you want to appreciate, you know, your life and begin to really, you know, connect deeper, because that is like so key to me. And I have been on this mission probably since at least December 2021. I've been on this mission to connect deeper, you know, to my spirit team, to my angels, to my archangels, to Jesus, who I've been so connected anyway, but I've been on a mission to go deeper, you know, really deeper, and to really understand, you know, my true nature, you know, and to really call in the abundance that I'm entitled to. That's mine. That's already mine. And it's just been a whole ass journey, y'all. It's been a whole ass journey, you know, and it's been something that I've appreciated and I'm so grateful for. And I'm telling you, it's just amazing. So I'm going to pull a card for the collective, for all of us, see what the spirit is wanting to bring forth, as if there's more. But yeah, so I'm just grateful, though. I'm grateful, you know, and I'm just so super excited that it's just time, you know, for us to move forward. And I'm making a call also to all of the healers, the light workers, the spiritual teachers, mentors. I'm making a call to all of us because it's time for us to come forward. The world needs us. And not wants, y'all, but needs. Okay, what is that one? It jumped out the deck. All right. So this is what I have. This is one of the cards that came forth from the collective. Have faith. Have faith. And that makes sense to me because that's what I think I was talking about. Is having faith. And then the other one that came forward was return to nature. And that's also what I was talking about. Return to nature. Return to nature. Because you know what? Whatever it is that you identify with, if it's mountains, if it's water, if it's fire, whatever it is, you know, return to it. Begin to embody it, embrace it, and begin to make sure that it's in your life. Then the other one that came through, y'all, was self-reliance. 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 And that is a whole nother thing, because to me, when you begin to have faith and then you go out into nature where you can connect, because that is the thing. One thing about going out in the nature is you can connect to yourself, not only yourself, your higher self, your spirit team, to God, source, universe, and whatever you call him, her, or them, but you can connect to them so easily because there are no barriers. A lot of times, we have phones, but many times we go out in nature and guess what? Our phones aren't working. We ain't got no internet. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I gotta have a drop of water. Hold on, y'all. I'm laughing because that's the water that goes in my I have a fountain in my office here, and I keep some water for the fountain because the water evaporates. I guess it's the humidity here, but that's my fountain water. But it's okay because it's still water. And the thing about that is, it doesn't matter, where you get what you need. It doesn't matter where you get your sustenance. It doesn't matter as long as it's what you need, right? So that actually was my fountain water, but I needed some right now, and I didn't bring any water in here because I wasn't thinking. I honestly wasn't thinking I was going to be on it long. But anyway, so that's a whole nother nugget for y'all. Take what you want. My grandmother always used to say, eat the meat and spit out the bones. So if it's something that you can use, take it. It's here for you. It's free. Or like one of my girlfriends says, it's free 99. So take it. And then make sure that you are exercising and having faith. Oh my God, have faith. Because here's the thing. You don't need faith until you need it. You don't need it until you need it. It's just like money. You don't need it until you need it. So if you always consistently practice having faith, and you consistently practice self-reliance, and to me, self-reliance means that you rely on your higher self and your team, and you bring it all together, under one roof, which is you. Because I don't know if you guys realize, but God exists in us. God is in us as us. And I believe that once you realize that, and once that, hits home for you, because many times, I've heard that for many years, but I don't think it hit home for me until probably just a few years ago. Just a few years ago, it hit home, and I was like, okay, all right. God is in me as me, So I'm super grateful to be here. And I thank y'all for hanging out with me today with my Tuesday healing chats. I will definitely be back on again. When am I doing this again? On Thursday? Well, probably more rested. But I'll do it again on Thursday. And you can come with questions. I'll do some guidance. Because I would love to practice that. So if you guys have questions you want me to answer, I'll practice some guidance, pull some cards, whatever. But we can do that on Thursday, and I'll do Thursday healing chats as well. And then I don't think we'll do Sunday service. I'm not sure if we will, because we'll be at the MeWe fairs, which if you are anywhere near Linwood, Washington, Seattle, Washington, Tacoma, Washington, any of those places, we'll be at Linwood at the Embassy Suites on the 18th and the 19th, which is Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And there's also there's like a sound bath thing going on, I think Sunday morning at like 9 something. And I think there's a mediumship thing after the thing at 8 o'clock, I think, on Saturday. So it's lots of stuff to do. So if you are coming out to the MeWe fairs, the metaphysical fair in the Pacific Northwest, we would love to see you. There'll be a few of us there. There's another practitioner that is on now, Angela. So we'll be there, and we would love to greet you and have a good time. I'll be there with my Reiki infused jewelry. I may have some books, but I think I'm not all out. I need to order some more books. but I may have some books also, and I'll be there with $25 15-minute mini healings. So if those are things that interest you, come on out and join us. There'll be readers there. There'll be intuitive eye readers. There'll be clairvoyants. There'll be mediums. There'll be all kinds of people that do all kinds of things there. So join us. I think it's 100, 102, 104 practitioners, I think now. So it's so much to offer, and so many people out there, and so much beautiful, amazing energy in the building. So come and join us at the Embassy Suites, 18th and 19th, which is Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. So be there or be square if you are in the area. Also look for the MeWe fairs and festivals online, because we also do online panels and stuff that we do, and you could follow MeWe and see, when they are, because I can't remember all of that right now. And then also I'm taking members from my Healing Hub, which is a monthly membership. And I'm taking founding members for that. And I also have a 6-week program, Journey to Radical Acceptance. And it's in the beta again, because what happened is I did it for 4 weeks, and I realized that 4 weeks was not enough time. It just wasn't enough time. And so I started just looking at it and asking my team, what could I do and how could I, improve and make it better and make it, more beneficial to the people. And so what we came up with is 6 weeks. It's called Journey to Radical Acceptance, and it's going to take you from understanding who you are, and your gifts and what it is that you're called to do. And we're going to do healing work in each and every session. And I'm doing it in a small group format, so it's going to be small and intimate. And then the last session, we'll do a wrap up, which is going to be amazing, because, we'll go through and answer questions and, anything else that you need. And for everybody that participates, I'm going to do a DNA activation for each person. And with that, I haven't decided how we're going to do it, if we're going to, because what I typically do with my DNA activation is I do the DNA activation and I send it to you in your email, because it is probably about an 18 to 20 page report. I mean, it's detailed. So it's not just a fly by night, little meditation or anything like that. No, it's a deep, detailed report that has your guides, your archetypes, your spiritual gifts. I dive into all of that, and I connect with your team. And so I share all of that with you. And so that is another added feature that I'm putting in the 6-week program. Now I also do the DNA activation by themselves too. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me as well, because I do that just separately. But I decided that I'm going to put those in each program that I do, because I feel like it's such a benefit. If you hadn't seen the video that my mother did on hers, I advise you to see that, and I'll drop that link in the comments here on Facebook. And also, I might drop in the link on YouTube too, because I'm on YouTube as well. But I'll drop the link in the comments on Facebook. That way you can look at that and see, because she actually talked about, what it did for her and the benefits. And I don't know, y'all don't know my mama, but my mama don't, she don't give that kind of compliments if it ain't real. Even to me, even for her daughter, she's just not that way. She's authentic, just like I am. And so she talked about the benefits and the things that it did for her, when she had her DNA activated, because she was skeptical, of course, like we all are, and she was like, well, what is this? And so she wanted it. And I think I actually gave it to her for her birthday. And, of course I was a little nervous because it's my mama, but she came on my show, Straight Outta Savannah, and she talked about it. And that's another opportunity, y'all. If you are doing something, you're changing the planet, especially if you are in the spiritual dimension, you might want to come on my show and talk about it. I'm always taking guests for Straight Outta Savannah. So that's another opportunity for you. Now that I got this Zoom, I think the Zoom is fixed. Thank you, Jesus. Because it was struggling, y'all. I had to cancel one of my appointments today because my computer was acting funky. So anyway, but yeah, so those are opportunities that, you can work with me. And then I always also have one-to-one sessions too, if that's something that you're looking for. But the issue a lot of times with the one-to-one sessions is it's usually not enough time, because I actually had a young lady that scheduled 2 sessions with me, and we did the 2 sessions, and now she's saying she might schedule some more. And I had a young lady in my 4-week program, and that was one of the reasons why I increased it to 6 weeks, because she was like, I need more time. And so she's thinking about coming back some more too, which I would love that, because, they're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people, and one thing about me is I love my clients. I think they're amazing. And I do things like in my programs, I like to send them gifts, just letting them know that, that they're loved and that I'm thinking of them. And so that's those are some of the things and some of the ways that you can work with me. I'll also be doing a talk also at the Meet Discovering You, talking about your sacred archetypes and spiritual gifts, and a few other things are in there. But I'm going to also do that workshop here on the platform. I may do it on YouTube. I may also do it on Facebook. I'm not sure yet, but be on the lookout for that, because I'm going to create some posts. An event page for that, to see how we can do that, because that is another thing that I love. And if you're in the Tacoma, Washington area, I'm going to be doing workshops on that stuff as well at the crystal shop. If you live in this area, you'll know it. But yeah, so I'll be doing some workshops on that coming up in the next month. So again, thank you so much for hanging out. I am so appreciative of y'all watching me. Those of you that are catching the replay, thank you. Make sure you hit #replay and let me know that you watched. And then share in the comments, any aha moments that you received, and also if there's something that you want me to talk about, because I love to, share on, the things that people are interested in. So again, have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, night, weekend, whatever it is for you, wherever you are in the planet. And thank you for joining me. Bye now.